I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, the virtues of the masters, and the compassion and mercy of the grand predecessors, transmitters, temple masters, lectures, and everyone to give me this chance, this opportunity to talk about chapter 22 of the Tao Te Ching. Okay, so this is the overview. Okay, chapter 22. You can say it's a further expansion of the previous chapters. Okay, chapter 21. If you guys remember, it's with it's called 从大, or from, with, to from, through, to conform with the Tao. That's the title. Okay, chapter 21. It's roughly similar to the same length as this chapter is a little bit longer. Okay, so as you can see, it's divided up into 3 sections. The first section is just one long sentence, but 6 phrases. All right, it's sort of like lays the thesis, the proposition, okay, about the Tao. And there are 3 sub-themes which I'll get to later. Okay, within this. Okay, so this chapter means to hold, to embrace, or cherish the one, okay, which is the Tao. Then there's the middle section, section 2, which is the main, the substance, the main portion of the chapter, if you will, which is a further exposition of those 3 sub-themes, which is in here. Okay, well, yeah, it's big. And then the conclusion, which is the last 5 phrases. Okay, all right. Okay, so that's all right. So that's chapter 22. Okay, now let's go to the outline. All right. So chapter 22, to hold or embrace the one. Okay, Baoyi. Okay. So first phrase, or first 2 phrases: to yield and remain whole, to bend and remain straight. Okay, so that's external. Okay, so qi, yeah, qi. Okay, so in modern usage, it means to bend. Okay, to bend, curved, etc. But in ancient usage, it means to yield. Okay, to give way. All right. Okay. Let's go to the third word, first phrase. Chen. It means complete, whole. Okay. To be complete, to be total, whole. Okay. It could be a verb. It could be a verb or an adverb. I think this is adverb or adjective. Okay. The first word of the second phrase, it's similar to the first one. It also could mean be bent, crooked, okay, or it could be to twist, okay, all right, wang, okay. The last word means to be straight, straight, fair, reasonable, okay, vertical, all right, or it could be a verb, it could be an adjective, verb, or adverb. Okay, so you're saying it's kind of repetitive, but because Lao Tzu wanted to show 2 qualities, very important. One is completeness and one is straight. Okay, so anyway, all right. So the basic meaning, it's this: to yield and to bend are 2 ways of describing flexible, right? All right. You can give, right? Give or bend, but not break. Okay, that's very important. Okay, so that's a very important, you can say, philosophy, right? In well, not just with Lao Tzu, with the Tao, actually, but also throughout, you can say, throughout nature or throughout, humankind, because as some of you who knows, in martial arts, right? There's the soft approach, and then there's the, you can say, hard approach, right? So those of you who, I don't know, who know martial arts like Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, Tai Chi. It embraces this philosophy. Okay. All right. So Johnny should know that very well, right? Aikido. Okay. All right. Okay. Another understanding of first phrase. Here's okay. By being tactful and flexible, one can make matters better. This is all about life with a flexible, okay, which is dry and soft role approach. There's a famous story. I don't want to have time, so I don't want to get into it. You guys can look it up. It's called 6 Feet Alley, 6尺巷. Okay, it's pretty famous. Okay, that I talked about. Okay, it embodies the notion of flexibility. Okay, all right. Additional understanding: the soft and supple is superior to the stiff and tough. The flexible and pliant is superior to the brittle and yielding, because why? Dead things are stiff, brittle, and cannot bend. All right. Now, this theme, remember I talked about in the overview, there are 3 sub themes to sub themes or subtopics, you can call that's within this Bao Yi chapter, all right, which is to hold, embrace, or cherish the one. Okay, chapter. Now, in other chapters, future chapters, like chapter 36, chapter 43, chapter 76, chapter 78, they all, he all focuses on this soft and supple. Okay, so a very famous line or well-quoted line in the Tao Te Ching would be, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but chapter 36, for example, which we eventually will get to, but there's a very famous, well, not famous, well-known, you can say well-known line. Okay, it's like the second or fourth phrase from the end. Okay, it's in Chinese. It's read as follows. It's 柔胜刚，弱胜强. Okay, 柔, that's this. Okay, 柔胜. 胜 means to triumph over or be victorious over. 刚 means, well, literally it could mean steel. It just means hardness or something that's very, very hard, stiff, hard and rich, yeah. So 柔胜刚, that means the soft, you can say softness, okay, conquers or triumphs over the hardness. Okay, that's in this chapter. Okay, all right. 为名章. Okay, chapter 36. All right, so that's a famous phrase in chapter 36. Okay, so just let you know. So I think this is the earlier chapters may hint at flexibility and soft. It did talk about that. Remember chapter, I think it's 14. Talk about a baby, a baby who's, well, he wasn't talking about the softness of a baby, but how a baby is, he's very flexible, right? A baby. And when I'm talking about baby, means like a toddler, 1 to 3 years old or something like that, 1 to 2 years old. Okay, it's very flexible. His limbs are very flexible. His skin or body or whatever is soft to the touch, right? Okay, so he hints at that. Okay, so this is the first chapter, chapter 22, that Lao Tzu is really emphasizing, okay, this sub theme right here. Okay, so that's the one. So this first 2 phrases implies that he's talking about that. Okay, that it's soft and flexible. Okay, it's the proper way. It's the correct way. And why? We'll talk later. But further understanding is in life, it is often wise to meet force with force or counterbalance with violence. Unfortunately, that's most of today. Now, the strategy of Tao is never about the head-on collision. Rather, it's about stepping out of the way of an incoming attack to deflect, rechannel, redirect, or re-guide a force to let the opponent be overextended. Okay, so that's the essence of the philosophy, or the core philosophy of certain martial arts, Tai Chi Chuan, or the Tai Chi fist, or it's all about this. Aikido, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, it's all about this. So that's considered they call it this soft approach, or the flexible approach of martial arts. I mean, that's an example. Okay, so in life, when we are dealing with people who are very aggressive, very forceful, okay, if we respond the same way, right? People love to say, fight fire with fire, right? Okay. You're going to get, it's going to be a mess, all right? It could be, potentially dangerous, etc. Okay, or have tragic consequences. Okay, all right. Now, there's a deeper meaning to these two words, to yield and to bend. Okay, the deeper meaning of to bend or to yield, it's basically to be aggrieved, 委屈自己, okay, to feel wrong, to put up with grievances. So the deeper understanding of the first phrase is to be aggrieved or wronged by others and still retain one's dignity and honor, which are the innate qualities of our true nature, is to remain whole. Okay, so so this has an indirect significance or connection to the three poisons. The first, which is the second, which is rage or anger, right? So if we are wronged or mistreated, okay, by insulted, whatever, okay, by others, a lot of times, I mean, if we're not careful, right, we get angry, right? Our rage, our emotions arise, right? Then we lose something. Okay, we lose our dignity and honor, right? Okay. All right. So Lao Tzu is kind of, this is more on the internal side. Yeah, you can say internal, right? Okay. That, even though we've been wronged, mistreated, insulted, slandered, etc., don't get angry. All right. We have to maintain or retain our dignity and honor. That is to remain whole. Okay. Because if we lose that, then we're not whole, right? Okay. Okay. Because dignity, honor is part of us. It's one of the virtues, you can say, okay, of a human being, but at the higher level, it's our Buddha nature, virtue. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So, and another meaning of wrong. Okay. It's similar to being aggrieved. Okay. To be treated unjustly, be wrongly accused. Okay. All right. Wrong treatment. So another standing second phrase is by willing to be taken advantage of will increase one's moral capacity and tolerance. Okay. All right. So the deeper understanding is this. Similar to the first phrase, to be unjustly treated and still hold true to one's moral character and principles, which means to be in accordance with the Tao, is to remain straight, okay, upright. You can say righteous, righteous is too very extreme, but it just means to hold true to the principles of the Tao, okay, and your moral character, right? Even though we've been unjustly treated. It's not easy, okay? These first two are not easy because most people's first reaction is to get angry or to talk back or to, resist. I say resist, but to respond, right? Respond in kind. And, that's like meeting force with force, right? Okay, so it's not easy, right? I mean, the extreme to this, once again, and which we'll talk about towards the end, is to turn the other cheek, right? Yeah, I mean, wow, you slap me in one cheek, well, I'll let you slap the second cheek. Wow, that's very extreme, okay? Actually, Lao Tzu is not advocating that, to tell you the truth, okay? It's not advocating that. But that would be the extreme, okay? But remember, you have to be flexible. The key is flexibility and soft. Okay. All right. Higher understanding. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. To be aggrieved and treated unjustly means that we need to have wisdom and flexibility. Sorry, in dealing with it. Yeah. So the key is that wisdom. Okay. All right. So only by retaining dignity and honor, moral character and principles will be able to remain whole and straight in the midst of grievance and unjust treatment. Okay. Yeah. Not easy. Once again, I'm not saying it's easy. Okay. It's not easy. All right. Okay. But it'll be easy if we embrace the one. That's the whole point. Okay. All right. So the key thing is this: by understanding the principles of Tao, applying our wisdom, and having a flexible approach to matters of grievance and wrongful treatment, we can still maintain our dignity and honor and remain whole, holding true to our moral character and principles and remain straight. Okay, so that's the first two phrases, right? So there's a sub-theme in there, which is flexibility and softness. Okay, next. That's a lot to talk about. Dang. Okay. Okay. The second, next two phrases: be low and become filled, be worn out and become renewed. Okay. Wa means low. Okay. It could be swamp. Okay. All right. It could be adjective. Okay. Yin, which we encounter at least 2 times in previous chapters. Okay. It means to be filled up, fill. Okay. Expand, overflow. Bi means we've encountered this phrase, I believe, chapter 16, I think. Anyway, okay. Broken, ragged, old, shabby, old, worn out. Okay. New. Okay, this means new. Okay. Okay, here's a deeper meaning of wa. Okay. To be humble, humility, modesty, meekness. Okay. So now in the second, third, and fourth phrases, Lao Tzu introduces a second sub-theme or subtopic, which is talking about humbleness, humility, modesty, or meekness. All right? Okay. All right. So basic meaning of the first phrase: being humble like water flowing to the lowest place, one can accommodate more and more. The lowest positions are the first to be filled up, right? Okay. Another meaning: low refers to the level of one's preconceived notions. If you're full of them, you won't learn anything new, right? Remember the story of the overflowing cup, right? Okay, additional understanding. In addition to flexibility or soft approach, right, in the first two phrases, Lao Tzu also brings up the importance of the humble. So that's the second sub-theme of this chapter, okay? Oh, you can say quality, yeah? The first quality is flexibility or softness, soft approach. Second one is we have to be humble, okay? Second quality, all right? Actually, it's really the Tao, okay? But anyway, or the Tao virtue. Okay, so this is applying the concept of softness to one's ego or mind. Having an open mind allows one to be filled with new and potential. Okay, right? Yeah. So if you were, if you have a very big ego and you think you know everything, I think it's very unlikely to learn new things or to use new approaches, right? Okay, because you think you know everything. You're always right? Okay, so. All right, higher understanding. Being low is to be very generous and forgiving and able to accommodate everything. The higher one is with Tao, the more humble one must become. The more power one has, the more humble one must be. The higher you climb, the lower you must be in your mind. Okay? I didn't put a reference here, but even Jesus, right, when he was giving one of his earlier teachings, he said, blessed are the meek, for they should, I think what they said, but they should inherit the kingdom of God, something like that, all right? Okay.
It's inherit the earth.
Oh, inherit the earth, yeah, okay. So that's the same idea, all right? Okay, blessed are the meek, okay? All right, deeper understanding of first phrase. By being humble like water means we will not reject anything, because the virtuous nature of water is that it does not contend with anyone, nor will water contend with us. Okay, that's in the chapter 8. We talked about that in the 7 virtues of water. Okay, all right, basic meaning of second phrase. Keeping old, one will be renewed and lasting. Keeping the old. Okay, what is the old? Okay, well, there's another understanding. We tend to throw out the old and pursue new things, not realizing that the new things cannot be sustained very long, nor what we consider as new or novel is really new, because it will quickly become old, all right? Because nothing lasts forever. Everything has a cycle, all right? So everything that's new will become old, okay? Now, so what is that old? The deeper meaning is the inner qualities within us that are invisible, our superb moral character and healthy integrity. These are the qualities of our Buddha nature, which are constant, neither old nor new. Okay, that's in chapter 15. All right, we talked about that. Okay, all right. Another meaning of new is to treat all the materials from heaven and earth seriously and not abuse or waste them. So that's another one. Okay, so we keep the inner qualities within us, and we don't abuse the materials, okay, of the world, of the heaven and earth. Okay. Further understanding, all new things are the manifestations of our Buddha nature. If we are able to maintain the constant, we can renew ceaselessly. For all new things are established from our minds. Minds, Buddha nature ultimately, but from our minds, right? Everything that's new, it's created, right? From somebody's mind, right? We innovate, right? We seek new ways, different ways of either doing things, making things, etc., right? But it all started from where? From our mind, right? Okay, all right. Deeper understanding of second phrase, right? By keeping to our Buddha nature, which is being plain and embracing the original, most natural state. Okay, remember the second to the last phrase of chapter 19. Okay, we can endure and be lasting and constantly renew, not like the new things that will quickly become old or worn out, because our true nature is neither old nor new, but always the same original natural state. Okay, that's the Buddha. So this is the deeper meaning, the internal meaning, if you will. Okay, the higher understanding is our Buddha nature essence is pure, unperturbed, and changes. So by being with it, we're embrace the one, right? We will be open and receptive, having great capacity, naturally gaining the respect of others, and continuously renew ourselves without doing something unconventional to be different. Okay? Implication, being like water is the highest good. Keeping the old is to show plainness and be free from the influence of the material world. So all new things are manifested from our Buddha nature essence. Okay. So the key point is, being in the low position is to be humble and not contending, having the highest virtues of water, which will gain admiration from people, and keeping to the changeless essence will let us endure and constantly renew. Okay, so this phrase 3 and 4 introduce, the sub-theme of humbleness, also non-contention, which we will get into in the second section. Okay, all right. Well, yeah, both will get into it. Okay, all right. The 5th and 6th phrase of section 1, having little or have a little and receive, having much and be confused. Okay, so I don't need to go through these. Okay, so the basic translation of first phrase is generalized from the overall concept that Tao balances everything. So if one does not have much, then one will be in a position. So this is like reflective of nature, okay, which you'll get into in chapters 23, 20, 25, 23, 25, okay? But let's see, in nature, we don't have these either extremes of having very little or nothing and having too much. nature tends to be balanced or more in equilibrium. Okay, so like in math, I don't know if those of you who understand math, the normal distribution function. Okay, that bell curve shape. Now there are different variations of it, but generally it's like you have the mean or the median in the center, and then that's where most events or data points are clustered around, typically within one standard deviation or less. Okay, and then the two extremes, which would be the the lower. Okay, so it'd be like a peak. You see a peak. Okay, like a mountain. Okay, like a mountain peak. Okay, low on the left, and then goes up. It slopes up, and then comes down, and then goes towards on the right. So that's plus or minus 2 sigma. I think that's the 2 sigma or higher. Okay, so that's the notion that nature is like that. Okay, all right. So additional. Tao is a natural mechanism which balances out the extremes from too much to less and from less to more. Okay, so it's very similar actually when you look at the statistical distributions. Okay, all right. Deeper meaning: having less is to hold on to the one. Okay, so this is these basic meanings are more like external. Okay, so but internally it means to hold on to the one. Okay, higher understanding. The one is our treasure. It's the most valuable treasure which can create all things. Okay, so as in the previous phrase 3 and 4. Okay, all right. Basic meaning of the second phrase: having too much of anything, whether it's material things, choices, rules, or anything else, leads to complexity, which leads to confusion. Okay, so there's another understanding is we want to accumulate more things, so resulting in more things, but we end up very depleted spiritually. Okay, so we have more material stuff, but spiritually we're depleted. Okay, or drained. Okay, so deeper understanding: to relinquish our desires for more material things. Okay, that's the deeper understanding of having much more and be confused. Okay, deeper understanding of second phrase: by relinquishing things, we are in alignment with the first of the 4 all-embracing bodhisattva virtues. Okay, 四摄法. Okay, that's the bodhisattva, which is relinquishment, which is 布施 or charity. We say charities, but it's relinquishment. It's more general. Okay, broader. All right, second phrase, higher understandings: no amount of riches and treasures. Okay, literally means gold, silver. Okay, can compare to our most precious treasure, which is our eternal Buddha nature essence. Okay, so implication is no material object or treasure can last forever. As long as they enter into forms, or they have forms, they are temporally limited. Temporally, that means time dimension. All will disappear one day, but our Buddha nature essence is eternal. Okay, never disappear. The key point of the last 2 phrases of section 1, from a phenomenon perspective, one really does not own a thing in this world, because they all will disappear. Okay, by having less is to have only the one. So by relinquishing our desires for more, what we end up having is the everlasting Buddha nature essence, which is the most precious. Okay, all right. So that's finished section 1. Okay, so Lao Tzu basically in this first section is to introduce 3 sub themes. Okay, flexible, soft approach, right? Also, what's that? Meekness or humility, you can say. All right, and non-contingent. Okay, so, all right. Okay, now, well, this is still. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, this is still, I think, the beginning of section 2 now. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So therefore, the sages hold to or embrace the one as an example for the world. Okay. So he's introducing the section 2 now. Okay. Okay. 圣人 means sage. Okay. This is a very important phrase. I think it's used like, I don't know, 30 something times, quite a few times. Okay. Okay. No, yeah, 30 times. Yeah, that's quite a lot. Okay. So we're only on chapter 2. So it's only been used like previous to this chapter 5 times only. But in future chapters, believe me, it'll be used a lot. Okay, especially in the later chapters, the 60s and 70s. Okay, in the 60s and 70s. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Here's the important, most the key phrase or terms of this chapter. Okay, which is 道义. Okay, to literally means to embrace the one. Okay, so it has several meanings. Okay. All right. So the oneness you feel in the present moment, or the connection to the Tao in the here and now. The one thing you must focus in daily life, or I think should say most focus. Okay. The most important thing for you, the sacred task or mission in your life overall, the reason why you are here. And lastly, unity as in people coming together in peaceful harmony, unified as one, living in harmony with everyone and everything. Okay? So that's Baoyi, different levels, okay? Different levels. All right. All right. Let's see. Okay. Basic meaning. Sages hold this unity or the one as an example to the world because they clearly see the destructive effects of contention and the great benefits of harmony. Okay, so remember the soft and flexible, right? Okay, so rather than force, use force against force, etc. Okay, so all right. So another understanding. Okay. More often than not, those who engage in conflicts hurt not only their enemies, but also themselves, because they create a situation where a third party will stroll in and take advantage of the two greatly weakened adversaries. Okay, there's a famous story. I think this is from Zhuangzi, Zhuangzi. The story of the snipe, which is like a crane, okay, stork crane, and the clan. Okay, so I don't want to go into it. It's very popular. You can look it up. Okay, in Zhuangzi, I think it's in Zhuangzi. Yeah, Zhuangzi's story. Okay, now the important thing is the deeper meaning of 圣人. Okay, literally it means sage, right? Enlightened beings. It does not mean holy person. Okay, so that's wrong. Okay, literally it does mean holy person. Okay, or spiritual person, holy person. Okay, but okay, so remember this term is used 30 times. One of the most oft-used terms in the Tao Te Ching, okay, in the entire Tao Te Ching, okay. It's our Buddha nature, okay. At the highest level, it means our beginningless, endingless Buddha nature essence, okay. Okay, so deeper meaning is to hold, the one is the Tao. So if we know the one, then you realize it completely, everything completely. Everything is completed and concluded, okay. So that's Chapter 10, okay, we talk about that in Mystic or Heavenly Virtue, okay? So okay, so this term's been used once already, okay, in chapter 10, okay? So, okay. As a matter of fact, this term, in chapter 10, all right? So I think this term is, it's only used twice, okay? Chapter 10 and chapter 22. I believe that's okay. All right. I don't want to get into because this is all talking about what the one is. Okay. I talked about it already. We talked about it in chapter 10, so you can review that. All right. But the deeper understanding is this: those who sages are those who are at one with their Buddha nature, which is the essence Tao. So sages hold on to the source of the great Tao, the beginningless and endingless Buddha nature essence. Okay? So higher understanding. Sages conduct themselves by abiding with the Tao, which serves as a timeless example for the world to follow, similar to foster spirit nobility by moral conduct without perturbation. Okay, that's from Book of Mencius. Okay, we talked about that too in chapter 10. All right, you can look this up. All right, it's sections 11 to 17. Okay, implication: by abiding firmly in the Tao, sages serve as examples for the world to emulate, so that we too can firmly embrace the essence of our Buddha nature. Right? So the key point is, okay, to realize the one, all right, it means literally to know one thing, is to already realize the root or the source, is to already know the origin, is to hold or embrace the one. So all things are already achieved and concluded, which serves an example of that. Okay, why are all things achieved? Because, well, once we're within the one, okay, remember, the Buddha nature, you are the Buddha nature essence. In everything we think, say, or do. So everything's already achieved. Why? Because everything comes from the Buddha nature. Okay, that's the important. All right, that's from the previous section, right? The last two phrases, right? All right. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the. This is the we're going into the diving into the deep. Okay, into the main thing. Okay, so not self-displaying or flaunting, and so well, the implication is they, meaning the sages, okay, are seen clearly. Okay, now this word 自, okay, now this word it's pronounced 现, okay, not 见, okay. 见 means to meet, okay, like 再见, see you again, right? Okay, you know, it means goodbye, okay, 再见. But this is 现. It's used today too. You can say 现. Okay, so this word or term, sorry, 自现 means self, okay, self, right? It means self-display, to flaunt yourself, to make a display of yourself, to show off oneself. Okay, all right. So that's what it means. Okay, do not show off. Okay, in other words, saying. And so how if you don't, it's kind of like counter, right? It's like saying, well, if I don't display myself, how can I be seen clearly? Right. So that's from the external perspective, right? So Lao Tzu is using it, talking about internally. Okay, but anyway, all right. Okay, okay, basic meaning. So sages do not showcase themselves, do not flaunt, or both. You can say both. Okay, both comes a little bit later, but all right. But they're all very similar. Okay, these first, this two terms. The first, the second and third word of the first phrase in the next three subsections, roughly will all mean they're all similar in meaning. They have overlaps. Okay. Do not showcase that, and does not claim. Okay, it just means that they don't show off. They're not flaunting. Okay, because those who flaunt are presenting a facade, a false front, right? False appearance, so that they're not being themselves, not being authentic. Sages make no attempt to impress others and avoid the spotlight, but they also stand out because people are drawn to them. Okay, this also is very similar to the four normals. Okay, of the 平时. Okay, being plain. Okay, once again, remember previous chapter 19, we talk about plainness, right? Okay, so same idea. Okay, he's just going in more in depth here in this chapter. Okay, so not self-displaying. Okay, so you can say self-displaying or flaunting is a type of arrogance. It is, right? It's one form of arrogance, you can say, right? Arrogance is pretty broad, right? It can encompass many different areas. So this is one example of an arrogance, right? You flaunt, you showcase yourself, you show off, right? Okay, all right. Then there's the word 明, right? Which is seen clearly. Okay, 明 means bright, clear. Okay, could be a verb to understand. Okay, deeper is to be completely free of ignorance, to have total awareness. That's in section 2 of chapter 16. Okay, so Lao Tzu wasn't talking about the external, understanding of this phrase. He's talking about internally. Okay, we don't, by not being proud, self-displaying, we are free of ignorance. Okay, all right. Remember a empty cup versus a full cup. Okay, all right. Similar idea. All right. Okay. So by relying on our Buddha nature, not having an aroused mind and stirred thoughts, we are free of ignorance and have total awareness. We know everything. We are the one. We've embraced the one. Right. Okay. We know everything. Okay. Higher understanding. Without flaunting themselves, sages are able to manifest their innate divine wisdom. That's the other consequence, if you will, of being at one. Okay, that they don't have that pride or that, you can say pride, right? Pride. Sages are able to manifest their divine because, like I said, empty cup, right? Everything it can accommodate everything, but also it can manifest because there's nothing to block our innate or divine wisdom from expressing itself, because we don't have arrogance, we don't have ego, we don't have pride, etc., to block that. Okay, to block that, because that will come out naturally from our Buddha nature. Okay, so the implication is self-display or flaunting, show off, arises from the ego. It doesn't arise from the Buddha nature. Okay, it arises from the ego or false self, which is not a manifestation of the Buddha nature. So the key point is this: by being at one with our Buddha nature, we will not show off, but we'll be able to display the innate divine wisdom of our Buddha nature. Okay. Next, not self-asserting or self-presuming, and so are distinguished. Okay. 自私, okay, it's self, you are always right, self-presuming, always regard oneself as infallible. That means you're never wrong, you're always right, never wrong. Opinionated, okay. 脏 means clear, okay. So it's, 脏, Ming, they all overlap, okay. They have similar, some close similar meanings, okay? Just like 自私 and 自现, okay? They kind of overlap, okay? So, but Lao Tzu is going to more detail, okay? So basic meaning, unlike most people, sages do not self-assert. They are correct and dominate others with that presumption, okay? Very important, okay? All right. This is also part in chapter 10, okay, the mystic virtues, okay? So you guys can look at that up, all right? Some similar, okay? Okay, further understanding. Sages become distinguished because they are different internally, having genuine insights, but not try to impose them on others, okay? Remember, they're also what? Meek, right? We're also humble, okay? All right, okay. So the deeper meaning of Zhang is to manifest the innate qualities of our Buddha nature. Okay, so Ming is to manifest our Buddha nature wisdom, right? Okay, all right, or completely free of ignorance. Okay, so that means we can manifest our Buddha nature wisdom. This is to manifest, this is broader, the innate qualities of our Buddha nature. Okay, so by having tolerance and acceptance of others, we will not dominate others. Okay, leading or growing without that. That's in chapter 10. Okay, the second to the last phrase. Okay, you can look that up. All right, we talked about that already. Higher understanding. Without being presumptuous, sages will act according to the Buddha nature, but do not dominate others. Okay, that's important. Okay, so this is a notion of humility or humbleness. Okay, even though you're right, even though even though we don't want to dominate. Okay, all right. So once again, it's it's being humble, being soft, flexible. Okay, all right. Self-asserting or self-presuming arises from the ego or false self, which is not a manifestation of the Buddha nature. Very important. Okay, so key point: being at one with our Buddha nature, we will not be self-asserting, but we'll be able to manifest the virtues of our self-nature, its innate knowledge and ability of ethics, morality, etc. Okay? All right. Okay. The third, it's not self-approving or self-seeking, and so have merit. It's like counterintuitive, right? So if I don't seek to get merit, how can I have merit? Yeah, okay. All right, okay. So 自法, okay, that's 自法, means to be arrogant, to be proud, to take pride in, self-conceited, self-important, self-seeking, okay? All right. So once again, it's similar to the first two, right? Overlap. There's overlap, okay? Even though it could be more specifically means arrogance and pride and stuff, self-conceit. Okay. Gong, that means accomplishment, achievement. Okay. Merit. Okay. So basic meaning: sages do not put themselves on a pedestal. They let their work speak for itself. So it's also another understanding of humility, humbleness, right? Okay. They don't, they're not self-seeking. They don't say, "Oh, look, I've achieved so much. I did all that." Okay. All right. So further understanding, sages focus on doing things right, not showing off, not showing. Okay. All right. Here's a deeper meaning of gong, merit. It's the mind of equanimity and relinquishment, non-differentiation, no subject-object duality. Okay, all right, very interesting. Okay, it could be so. Okay, so. Okay, so deeper understanding. If we're not self-serving, then we will achieve without arrogance. Okay, the third to the last phrase in mystic virtues. Okay, chapter 10. Okay, higher understanding. Without being self-approving, sages do not abide in forms. Okay, forms. Okay, because a lot of times when we view this, accomplishment or merit, we are pursuing form. Okay, so in the Diamond Sutra, when Sakyamuni talked to Shibhuti, he says, the highest achievement or level is you don't have this notion of merit. Okay, all right, okay, because that's a form. Okay, so that's why. All right, okay, so sages. So implication: self-approving or self-seeking arises from the ego, once again, or false self, which is not a manifestation of the Buddha nature. Okay, because Buddha nature has no what ego, or you can say no ego, or no forms, right? Doesn't has no attachment to forms or no. Okay, all right. Key point: by being at one with our Buddha nature, we will not be self-conceited, but we'll be able to achieve virtuous merit. Okay, virtuous. All right, and it's a notion also wu wei too. Okay, non-conditioned, right? So mind of equanimity, relinquishment, non-differentiation. It's just non-conditional. Okay. So, all right. So whatever comes out, from our Buddha nature is non-conditional. Okay. Right. Okay. Which means one of them is you don't abide in forms. Okay. All right. Then here's the last. Yep. Okay. It's the last phrase of section 2. Not self-boasting or praising, and so are lasting. Okay, so now here comes the boasting, as opposed to the first phrase of this. Okay, 自矜, okay, means to boast. 自己炫耀, right? Okay, to blow one's horn, glorify oneself, sing one's praises. Okay, 常 means always. Okay, all right. Okay, it could mean 长. 长 would be to grow. Okay. To increase, but this 常 means to be enduring, all right, constant. Okay, all right, basic meaning. Sages do not boast because they know those who brag are not living in accordance with the Tao, therefore can never last. Okay, cannot be everlasting. So the further understanding is braggarts may hog the spotlight and feel as they have won the glory they deserve, but this is temporary. Sooner or later, people will see their true colors. Okay. Here's a deeper meaning of 常. It's permanence, okay? Constancy, permanence, okay? constancy, permanent. Okay. Additional understanding of constancy is to return to one's nature, 复命, and it's being in accordance with the original nature, 率性. Okay. Deeper understanding. When we are not pretentious, right? That's 自精. Okay. We will return to our original nature, which is called constancy. That's section 2 of chapter 16. Return 1. Okay. All right. It's in there. Higher understanding. Without self-praise or self-praising, sages hold on to what is the lasting, permanent changelessness and non-transforming, which is what? Our Buddha nature. So it's to embrace the one. Okay, same idea. Implication. Self-boasting or self-praising arises from the ego, once again, our false self, which is not a manifestation of the Buddha nature. So the key point, by being at one with our Buddha nature, we will not be boastful. We can grow to become a leader of others and also be able to return to our original true nature, which is the lasting, permanent changeless and non-transforming. Okay? All right. All right. So that's the section. Okay, section 2. So I want to just to refresh, emphasize. This section 2 basically touches upon the 3 sub-themes, okay, that Lao Tzu is talking about, okay, in section 1, which is you have to be flexible, soft, you have to be humble, humility, the Tao of humility, and also non-contention, okay? So it's all in here, okay? So the 3, all right? Okay. Okay, now we go to the conclusion, which is this. So he emphasizing, because they do not contend, the world cannot contend with them. Okay, all right. Let's go to, so the word 争 means to contend, to strive for. Okay, it could mean struggle, all right, to dispute, strive. That means you compete, right? You compete to achieve something or to get something, right? That's what that means, okay? Right. More means not, okay? So more, okay. Okay. The meaning of this is to not to vie for fame or benefit, okay? Not to contend for anything, not even contention with words, not debating with others. Okay, all right. So, all right, that's the. Okay, so basic meaning, all right, is if we do not engage in contention, contention could be confrontation too, all right? That's the more extreme in, okay? Then no one else can engage in contention with us. It's the principle of non-contention. It has many levels, okay? There's the absence of conflict, not arguing or fighting, okay? Not confrontational, okay? And then there's a peace of mind, no social competition or compete against one another, okay? So it has those 2, okay? These 2 levels. Okay, another meaning of non-contention, okay, may seem similar to pacifism, okay? Remember, that's the extreme, right? Turn the other cheek, okay? 和平主义, but has significant differences, okay? So most people, so don't try to pigeonhole, say, oh, what Lao Tzu is advocating is pacifism. That's very extreme, okay? So that's not what Lao Tzu is really saying, okay? He's saying that there is you can say, middle ground between the 2 extremes of contention and pacifism, okay? So that's like the middle path, okay? That's the flexible approach, the soft approach, the approach of using our wisdom, okay? All right, so that's important. Okay, so further understanding is both non-contention and pacifism start from the same realization that contention cannot occur if one side chooses not to engage, right? Takes 2 to tango, right? So that's why on the external meaning, if the sages don't contend, then the world can't contend with them, because it takes 2, right? It takes 2 to 2 sides, right? You need duality, right? 2 sides to have contend, right? Pros and cons, right? Yay and nay, etc. Okay, all right. So here's the additional difference between pacifism and hey, Tai, when I do this thing, this mode, it loses the 2-column view. But okay, I originally set it up as 2 columns. Okay, all right. Okay, between non-contention and or pacifism. Okay, so in pacifism, it's this. Okay, it's what? It's opposition to violence in any form from anyone. Okay, this. So pacifism is this. Okay, opposition to violence in any form from anyone. Yeah, that's called pacifism. But in non-contention is this. It's minimal use of force and skillful defense. Use of force as last resort. So it's not an extreme. This is an extreme. Okay, this is the extreme, right? No matter what. You want to kill me? Go ahead, kill me. Okay, so that's, that's very extreme. Okay, I mean, it's not wrong. Okay, I'm not saying it's wrong. We're talking about from a practical standpoint. Yeah, ideal. This is the most. That's the highest. Yeah, it's the most ideal, right? Okay, Buddha, when, well, he was not in a present life, but in previous life, when he was a bodhisattva, I think it was a king, some kind of, some king or whatever, wanted to test him. So, he kept insisting that Buddha, cut off his, I don't know, arm or leg or whatever to feed or to give something. Okay, so Buddha proceeded to do that. But anyway, well, he wasn't a Buddha then, he was a bodhisattva. But that's very extreme. Okay, so right now, on a practical sense of non-contention, Lao Tzu is saying, you don't have to use force. That should be minimal or as a last resort. Okay, all right. Then the second, right? Do not strike back when struck. Turn the other cheek. Yeah, that's pacifist. It's very ideal, right? It's extremely ideal, right? Okay. Whereas Lao Tzu is advocating this. Do not be struck in the first place by being aware, okay? Having situational awareness. So one is avoidance, okay? Prevention, right? Prevention is what? Worth more than cure, right? So prevention, don't find yourself in that position in the first place. And how do you do that? You have to be aware. So that's why you have to embrace the one. Remember that total awareness, total without ignorance state of, okay? So that's very important, right? So third one is peaceful, non-violent protest to achieve a goal. Okay, all right, yeah. Gandhi's example, okay. Actually, Thoreau, Martin Luther King, etc. Many examples in history. And they do achieve their goals eventually, okay? They do. I mean, it's not that this is worthless, okay? It has its uses or achievements, okay? All right. But Lao Tzu is saying there are many strategies to diffuse an explosive. So that notion of flexibility and applying wisdom, okay? Okay. So Tai Chi boxing example, right? Right? You deflect, right? You don't confront directly or counter force with force, right? Okay. So this is an extreme, right? Right. Okay. And whereas Lao Tzu is saying, we don't have to go to those extremes. You can apply, flexibility, wisdom, etc. Okay. All right. So that's difference. All right. Okay. So the deeper meaning of non-contention is to be in accordance with one's conscience, to follow one's Buddha nature, to be in harmony with all, okay, or utmost harmony. This is going to be in a future chapter, chapter 55, cherish, okay, Han De Zhang, okay. It's going to be in there, okay. It's that, I think it's towards the end, near the middle of the chapter. It's not a long chapter, but okay, all right. So the deeper meaning of second phrase, our Buddha nature does not contend with the world, because sages hold on to the one, or you can say according to the Buddha nature. Okay, Buddha nature, just no contention. Remember, it's absolute, right? It's non-dualistic. So there's nothing to contend. Okay, Buddha nature. Okay, so further understanding is this: we contend with the world when we are not in accordance with our Buddha nature. Okay, that's important, right? That's how we end up contending with everybody, with each other, with ourselves, within ourselves, and with each other, with the world. because we're not in accordance with our Buddha nature. We're not at one. Okay, so higher understanding, being at one with the Tao, we do not contend with the entire cosmos. It's called the virtue of non-contention. Okay, 四维不争执的. It's the third to the last phrase of chapter 68, non-contention. Okay, all right. Okay, deeper understanding. Each day we face realities of the world. Each day we can face realities of the world without contending with the world by what? Letting our Buddha nature be our master. That's very important. Because if we don't let our Buddha nature be our master, which is not to be at one, which means we're just applying our intellect, our sixth consciousness, right? When we deal with the reality, we're going to end up contending with the world. Okay, because likes and dislikes come into play. All right. Okay, so implication, 2 levels. First level refers to the absence of strife, right? Contention. Sages do not pick fights or arguments with anyone, so no one can pick fights with them. 2 refers to the inside, this is internal, peace of mind, serenity. Sages do not engage in a mad rush, the fight to get ahead, so there's nothing to stress them out. Thus the world leaves them alone. Okay, it's the peace of mind, the sereneness, the serenity, the tranquility, the stillness within ourselves. Okay, so the key point of non-contention is about both nonviolence, which is more external, and serenity or stillness within our minds. This is already the most surpassing, the highest. Okay, all right. Ooh, am I over? Yeah, a little. Okay. What the ancients called the one yields and remains whole. Okay, what does it mean? Okay, let's say basic meaning is the teaching about non-contention is already ancient, even to Lao Tzu. He did not originate the idea. All right, so Lao Tzu is just continuing, okay, that old teaching, okay, that old principle, okay, remain keeping the old, and one will be renewed, right? Okay, so another meaning, metaphor is this. Metaphor for a flexible branch of a plant. When force is applied to it, it bends but does not break. In other words, it remains whole, right? It does not, right? It does not crack, okay? So that is very important, okay? So we have to be flexible, okay? All right. Okay. So further understanding. If a tree is rigid and stiff, it won't bend. Then it will be uprooted and broken. Same idea. All right. So you can't be rigid. You can't be too, even though you're right. Yeah, that's very important. Okay. We have to understand. We have to be humble, flexible, right, and non-contentional. Okay. Another understand. Those who take a step back are the ones who ultimately get ahead. Okay. Additional. What seems like a setback is actually the path forward, okay? Implication, those who give a little bit more are the ones who end up gaining the most in relationship business, okay? That's, remember, from the very first section, the 5th and 6th phrase, right? Have little will gain more, right? Okay, same idea. So the key point, to put up, okay, to put up with grievances, one can resolve matters satisfactorily. Okay, right. Okay, this is the last, or second to the last. Okay, this is the last phrase, or last line. Okay, were they speaking empty words? Okay, sincerely becoming whole and returning to oneself. Okay, let's look at this word. Okay, so this phrase, or were they speaking empty words? It's a rhetorical question, okay? Because this word "zai," it could mean exclamation, but it's okay. All right, okay. It's a rhetorical question, okay? It's qi. It's rhetorical. He just, asking a question, but he's not asking for a response. Okay, all right. So the basic meaning of first phrase. The ancient sages really knew what they were talking about, okay? That's basically what it is, okay? The first phrase, okay? So additional understanding is that they knew the principle was solid because they had seen it work many times at different levels, okay? It's been tested, okay? All right, now let's look at the second phrase, okay? 诚 means authentic, okay? Authentic, real, genuine, okay? Sincere, true, truthful, okay? 归 means to return, to revert to, okay? So the basic meaning of the second phrase is he understood that this chapter's teaching may be difficult. Yeah, okay, for people, it is. All right, it's not easy, right? Okay, but so here are the three things, okay? The three sub-themes, remember? First one, humility. To admit that you don't know something opens the door to knowledge. Unfortunately, some people may see it as ignorance. Okay, that's okay. That's non-contention. To withdraw from conflict takes great strength, right? Courage, strength, but may be seen as cowardice. Okay. Soft and flexible. To be flexible lets you work through challenges, like weather the storm. Okay, but may be seen as weakness, right? So it's not easy, okay, because of these, okay? In order to maintain humility, people might say, hey, you're ignorant, or, you're stupid, or not to contend. If you might say, hey, you're a coward, you can't stand up, right? You don't stand up for your rights or whatever, okay? And to be flexible or soft, people say, hey, you're weak, right? You let people bully you, stuff like that, okay? All right, so it's not easy, okay? Here's another meaning of the second phrase. The higher you climb in the world, the lower, more humble you. Okay. Another understanding is the more accomplished you are, the less you must flaunt. Okay. All right. And then the deeper meaning, here's the deeper meaning of Chen Quan. Literally means sincerely, authentically whole. Okay. Or truly or genuine, complete. It means being at one. Okay. That's what it means. To be at one with our Buddha nature. Okay. All right. And then the last terms of the second phrase is returning to our true nature, to our Buddha nature essence. So the second phrase basically means sages hold on to the one, okay? And another understanding higher is the sages hold to the source of the great Tao. That's the same, okay, another one. So the implication is this is the path of coming full circle and returning to the one, okay? All right, so we tend to focus outwardly, and we don't want to show our ignorance, or we don't, we're not humble, we contend, we tend to be inflexible. Well, by applying these three sub-themes, okay, these qualities, okay, we will end up coming full circle and go back to the Tao, okay? So the key point, and this is the last, okay, is by following our Buddha nature, or the footsteps of the ancient sages, we will be truly complete, able to return to our original state, and able to apply our divine or Buddha nature wisdom to guide people. And by embracing the one this way, we can be consummate. Okay, consummate. Another word of saying it's just perfect, but I'd rather use consummate. Consummate means complete, total, whole. Okay, whole, complete. Okay. All right, that's everything. Chapter 22.
Okay, Deborah wants to speak.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thank you so much for this session today. It was really inspiring. I just wanted to clarify a point that Master was making, that the one that is in this section here, the one is our Buddha nature and our essence. Is that correct? I'm just making sure I grasp.
Yes.
Okay. And so that's what we come back to. And then can you just expound on that just a little bit more? Like, I don't know how to ask this question. It's so hard for me to explain what the Buddha essence is to some people that I'm trying to teach it to around here. And I don't know how. I just thought I would ask that. It's just getting a little bit hard to express to certain people in my life. And I figured I would just, since we're talking about this today, I figured I would just bring this up.
Yeah, okay. Now, we use the term the one because it has many levels of meaning, okay? So at the grand scale, at the highest scale, or, we can't, it's the Tao, okay? Because the Tao, or the ultimate truth, ultimate reality, because the Tao is non-dualistic. That's why we say it's the one. Okay, the one. Okay,
Yes,
it's
makes
the
sense.
one. Everything multiplied by the one itself. It's always itself. Okay, so there's no duality. So that's the highest, and that's what the Tao is, right? The Tao is non-dualistic. It does not have likes, dislikes, black and white, etc., etc. None of that. Okay, it's reality. It's in Buddha what they call the Dharma Dhatu, or the 究竟界. Yeah, the ultimate realm, the ultimate reality, realm of reality, or realm of truth. Okay, now that's at the highest level. But then there's also one within us. There's the Tao, you can say, the Tao within us, which is our Buddha nature. Now, that Buddha nature is it's different from our notions of, we have a spirit. We have the soul, right? Spirit. Yeah, soul and spirit, you can say, comes from the Buddha nature, or you can say it's a, I don't want to say substitute, but it's a, I don't know if you've heard the term avatar. It's like extension. Extension. Yeah, I can say extension. The soul, the spirit. Okay, because it's the soul and the spirit that well, at least in in religions, that says gets punished or either goes to paradise or goes to underworld or hell, right, to be punished. Well, the Buddha nature essence, okay, doesn't feel pain, quote unquote, okay, pain or pleasure for that matter, because it's non-dualistic. Remember, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
it doesn't, but it has its extensions, if you will, which is the soul, the spirit. It's in chapter 10. We talked about at the very beginning that it's in Taoism, or in Chinese Taoism, not this Tao, but the Taoism as that in Taoism or philosophy. There's notion of Hun and Pe, which is the energy, not the energy, the spirit of, the spirit of growth, spirit of sensation, etc., and the vitality, life vitality. Okay, that's how you can breathe. The qi, it's called the qi. It's a life force. Okay, those are like it makes up that spirit. Okay, we can call that spirit or the soul, if you will. Okay. Yeah. But the one within us, okay, remember that's the Tao, but also it's within us, because that's why we say the Tao's in everything, because we also have embodied the Tao, which is our Buddha nature. Okay, so that's above. We're gonna say above the spirit. Okay, that gives rise to the spirit. So people say,
that makes sense.
Spirit is the ultimate. That we have to be careful, because spirit can be very broad, right? Oftentimes, most people apply it very loosely, very broadly, right? Now, we have to be a little bit more specific, which is that spirit or soul, we call it soul, actually comes from the Buddha nature essence.
Yeah.
Because
there's one way you can also describe we all have spirits. We have a soul, right? We have a soul, right?
Yes.
Once we get rid of all the bad temper, bad habit, get rid of all the attachments, get rid of all the desires, get rid of 3 poisons, like greedy,
resentment,
anger,
ignorance.
And all those, we get rid of all the stuff. Those spirits, once the spirit get rid of this stuff from our spirits or soul, then that's Buddha nature.
Yeah, okay? What's left?
Buddha nature don't have those kind of stuff. That's the difference between
that makes total sense.
Yeah, that's between the spirits and our
Buddha nature.
Okay, Buddha nature do not have those kind of stuff, which very pure, very innocent. Okay, that's what we call Buddha nature.
Yeah, it's unproductive. Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
easier to explain it. Sometimes hard to explain it.
Another way of I was trying to express is that the soul and the spirit arises or comes into existence is because we have ignorance, we have rage or anger, and we have greed, okay, the 3 poisons, and we have emotions, we have likes and dislikes. That's how the spirit comes into existence. But so if you get rid of those things, like Transmitter Lin just said, right? The three poisons, like and dislike, etc., etc., etc. Then what's left is your Buddha nature. Get it? Because that's Buddha nature. It's the essence. Okay, that's the essence within us. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very important. I think that's why Buddha always said, in the lifetime, we need to start to get rid of our bad temper, habit, and all the attachment desires, all the emotions, and three poisons. So once we get rid of all this, stuff, we'll be like Buddha. Okay, so very pure. And then, like you see the Buddha, all the people, they have a superpower. So once you get rid of all those stuff, one of the function like superpower reveal. That's just one of our abilities. Don't emphasize on that, but that's one of many abilities we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That helps a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's why we try to, in lifetime, we try to cultivate. So we try to, first thing we change correct our bad temper, bad habit, our faith will change, life will change. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, sometimes people use the term spirit and they can misuse those ideas, like spirituality and mysticism and then, special powers and this kind of thing. And to me, that's a misuse. That's not what.
Not Buddha nature. Yeah, that's not Buddha
right.
nature. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So that's what we want to cultivate to get to that level, to let our Buddha nature reveal. So once we start to get rid of all the affinities, do not raise a single thought, and then maintain a clear, still state. So every day just calm down, just get rid of all those stuff, maintain the clear, calm states. That's our Buddha nature in that case, our Buddha nature will reveal. So we need to continue to work on that area.
Okay, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. That helps. Thank you so much, all of you.
Another way to understand the Buddha nature essence is that, or the difference between essence or Buddha nature essence and spirit is that Buddha nature essence is eternal, right? It's eternal. It's changeless. Remember, we kept emphasizing changeless, and it's permanent, and it's timeless, right? We always emphasize that, right? Okay. Yeah. The beginningless, the endingless. Okay. Now, it's part of the four virtues of nirvana or transcendental virtues. Okay. So first quality is timeless. That's our Buddha nature. Okay, not the spirit or soul. Okay, because spirit soul is dependent on those emotions, desires, attachments. Understand? Buddha nature does not have those things. Buddha nature has no attachments, no desires. Okay, so these are the four qualities. It's pure, it's non-defiable, it's non-conditional, it's impeccable. Okay, and it's the true self. It's absolute, non-attached, non-dualistic, unmoving, unperturbed, no four marks, which is, especially the ego, notion of ego or self, okay? And it's bliss. It's because it has those supernatural powers. It has everything. It's self-sufficient. It has everything it'll ever need or any. All right. So these are the four qualities we say virtues of now, and that's what the Buddha nature encompasses. Okay, not the ego. Okay, don't think. Okay, and so when we say spirit, that's why we have to be careful because, like I say, spirit can be used very broadly and sometimes vaguely. Right. So that's the difference between spirit and our Buddha nature essence. So we call it the Buddha nature essence. Buddha nature essence has these. Okay, spirit does not have this. Okay, spirit is not necessarily happy. Okay, or blissful. All right, it's attached. It could be dualistic, right? So it could be conditioned, right? So that's not the spirit. So the Buddha nature is not the spirit. So we have to be careful. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
I just wanted to clarify one thing that Lecture Kai said earlier, because I believe he said that the soul or spirit arises from our, ignorance and all that stuff. But actually, it doesn't arise from those. Okay, so it arises because of the certain existence, the being that, if we're in this chi, if we're in this material world, we have those things, the soul, spirit. Okay, but it's the soul and spirit that can be defiled. Okay, that can become ignorant, that can become, and do all those things that, right. So, but the Buddha nature, of course, is the essence. I mean, it does arise from that essence, but the essence doesn't change. It's only the soul or spirit that can change. And then so when we are cultivating, we're getting rid of these things, it's getting rid of it from our soul or spirit. Okay, so that ultimately our soul and spirit becomes pure again. Like it, you can say at the very original, at the very beginning, when we kind of entered in this world. Okay.
Yeah, it's because we have ignorance, then we have desires and attachment. That's how a spirit arises.
No, the spirit is already there. It's just that it's because you can't have ignorance from just the Buddha nature. Okay, so the spirit is already there. The spirit is pure initially, but
but then how did it become ignorant?
Right, it's because from the spirit.
Right.
Okay, so
Right. Okay. Yeah. So
it's not the other way around.
well, but the spirit. Okay, at the highest level, you can say if it's pure, if it's non-attached, if it's blissful, if it's eternal, then it is the Buddha nature. Yeah, you can say it that way.
Well, it's not the same as the Buddha. It still comes from the Buddha nature.
Precisely.
It's like
It
a
still
function
comes
of the
from
Buddha nature, but a
it's
manifestation or something.
Right, it's a manifestation.
Right,
Because once you have a form, that's when the spirit arises. If you have no form, if you're in Dharma Dhatu, right? Remember the absolute state? There's no such thing as a spirit. It's just your essence, right? Isn't that true? Right? Yeah, right. So once you have forms, that's when the spirit comes into play. It's manifesting.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's when you can have ignorance and greed and all those things.
Yeah, it's the spirit that's defiled. It's not the Buddha nature.
Yeah,
Buddha nature is not conditioned, non-defileable, non-sustainable, right? It's the spirit. You can say it's that function or manifestation in the form, in a form, right? In some form, right? In some form, right? Okay, and it becomes what? Dualistic, right? Yeah, the Buddha nature is not dualistic. I agree, it's not dualistic. But there is that essence, that Buddha nature still within us. The reason why we don't see that, because it's that spirit that's in charge.
Because we are human beings. So
you have a form.
That's why we create all those bad habits, tempers, all the emotions, all the stuff we attach. We have attachment desires. Let's create all the problem for ourselves and greedy, and then 3 poisons. So that's the area for the cultivators. First thing we need to get rid of all our bad tempers and bad habits. That's pretty much we are already 50% there. So the other things start to let go all those all the stuff which we don't have originally. But it takes time to get there, step by step. But first thing we need to work on our bad tempers and habits. Yeah,
that's the most basic. That's the most basic, most fundamental.
Very, very basic stuff. Then I'd like to talk about the first thing the lecture talk about in the beginning of the class. That's a very important concept in our daily life. Tai, you want to go back to the beginning of your material, please?
Right here, right?
The beginning, yes. Okay, yeah. This chapter is very important in our daily life because it tells us we don't want to be very stiff. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be very rigid to deal things in our life. Yeah. To deal with human beings or deal with matters. We need to be a little flexible to deal with all those things in the life. Deal with children, family, deal with all the matters. Yeah. And then that's very critical because once we are very stiff, we are very rigid to deal things. We will not have a good affinity with people. So This is very important. We need to be a little flexible. That we are willing to listen. We are willing to talk. So people willing to deal with us and with matters will make our life and then our faith much better situation. Yeah. Right? Makes sense?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's the idea of, or you can say the principle of harmony. Okay, so it's we as humans we fall into duality. We think, oh, right is better, right or wrong, but harmony, like this, you have to be flexible. It's not necessarily just right and wrong. Okay, so to be in harmony is better, is the higher level of saying, oh, rather than falling into saying, oh, it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's a part in the Six Platform Sutra where Sen Shou, I think when he was about 14 years old, he asked a question to the sixth patriarch, Huinan.
Yeah.
So he said, so did you see Buddha nature? That was his question. And at the time, the sixth patriarch took, I guess it's a rod or something, start hitting him. Okay, so he said, are you in pain? Are you in pain? Then he said to Sen Shou, the little kid, whether you see or not seeing, it's dualistic. Having pain or not having pain is it's there or it's not there.
Is this Sen Shu or another one?
Yeah, it's Sen Shou. He was 14 years old.
But then sixth patriarch wasn't around. It's the
Jill,
fifth
you want to
patriarch.
speak in Chinese? Let me know fully understand the question.
Yeah, sure. 他就跟慧能说，见不见是两边，痛不痛是生灭。That's how he explained Buddha nature.
Yeah, it's non-dualistic.
Right. So that's the key. You have a pain, but at the same time, you also you have a pain right now, but then a few minutes later, the pain is not there.
Goes away, right?
Right. So it's here and it's also not there.
Yeah. It's a beginning and an end. Right.
Right. So that's what that means.
Yeah. Anything that has beginning and end is not. It's not real. You can say it's not real or not eternal. Not not true.
It's saying that our Buddha nature encompasses
all that. Yes.
All that.
Yes.
All that is Buddha nature. Buddha nature can see or not see. Can feel pain, can also feel no pain.
Yeah. For example, we have a body. Okay, we can feel. Okay. Then who feel that? It's not our body feel. For example, we can see. It's not because our eyes can see. The dead body also has eyes. But how come the dead body cannot see? Because we have Buddha nature inside our body. Right? So we can see. The same thing, why Sen Shou can feel or not can feel. He can feel because he have Buddha. He can feel because the Buddha nature inside. But he cannot feel because Buddha nature inside too. Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's basically Sen Shou is the reason because Sen Shou is always concentrate on
form.
He's very close to enlightenment. Very, very close, like sixth patriarch. But just only a little close, very, very close. But he almost there, but it's different from the sixth patriarch. Sixth patriarch is enlightened. But only difference between those two is Sen Shou, if you follow Sen Shou or to cultivate, you're going to have good life in the futures. And then you're almost there. However, sixth patriarch become one of the masters because he was enlightened. Yeah.
Because, he said at the time, if you have a pain, if you say you have a pain, that's not right, because a few minutes later, you don't have pain.
Pain will become.
When you say you don't have pain, that's not right. I really felt it. It was painful.
But who feel it?
Yeah, but the question is who feels or who doesn't feel it? Yeah.
The pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have a Buddha nature, you have a fear there inside, right? Yeah, but their body don't feel that one, but we can feel that too, right? 那个跟那个释迦牟尼佛跟他的大弟子讲的是一样的 right? Remember the Kai, you remember you talked about that story? He had the flowers on his hand.
Mahakashyapa.
Yeah, and then his disciples smiles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Who saw the flowers?
Yeah, who saw it? Yeah.
Who saw the flowers? Because
it's not the eyes, right? It's
Yeah,
not
not
the
eyes.
brain, not the brain. It's your Buddha nature.
yeah, saw the flowers. Then his disciples, right?
Yeah, he became enlightened. Yeah.
Yeah, he smiles. He knew that.
Mahakashyapa. Yeah.
His disciple. They don't. He gave his right.
Because at the time, the flower represents the mundane world.
The world, right?
The world that always in motion.
Yeah.
But who saw the flowers?
Yeah.
Right? How that's the key. So we cultivate. We have a Buddha nature inside. We try to bring out our Buddha nature. So every day, I would say a lot of books. We got so many books. We are very lucky and fortunate this lifetime. Talk about Buddha nature. I remember when I started to cultivate the first 10 years. The saints and Buddha didn't talk about Buddha nature, so we have no clue at all. So every time Buddha came to talk in the Dharma class, we have no clue. They talk about Buddha nature, no ideas. So we understand just on age, but we are not understand that's Buddha nature. But last 10 years, since we talk about Buddha nature class, so we start to understand Buddha nature. So, but not if you go to other temples, okay, they don't talk about Buddha nature that much at all, that many at all. So it's very interesting, very, very lucky for our group. Yeah, I would say that.
Jill, can you repeat the Chinese again?
Sure. So he said, 见不见是两边，痛不痛是生灭。
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's from Platform Sutra.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
六祖坛经.
I also wanted, thanks. I also want to share with Deborah, right? So as a human being, we have a yin and yang. We are 50% yin, 50% yang. So the Buddha nature is 100% yang, and the underworld soul could be 100% yin. So why what I understand why human is so it is the it's the why human form is so precious is because that we can cultivate to reveal our Buddha nature, and we can become Buddhas. So when we do that, we have turned that the negative in us that we have converted all into positive. Something like that. Okay, thanks. Oh, so like if we don't cultivate, so we would become to be we can become 100% negative and
received an MFA
and be suffering all the time. And that's why receiving Tao and knowing this heavenly road to return back to where we came from is precious and important. Because as a human form, it's a journey we have to go through. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, no more questions, right? I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, the mercies, the virtues of masters, and virtues of masters. And if I have said anything wrong, I ask for the Buddha's and Lao's forgiveness. Thank you.